everyone. We have someone here this morning who loves to explore space and everything in it. I'm pleased to introduce him to you all this morning. This information is important to us because we all look at the sun, the stars, the moon at some time, and it's nice to have a little background of what we're seeing. He's attending PVCC for astronomy and plans on going to Berkeley or somewhere in Arizona. He works on many types of telescopes for extra money, including the one on campus. On the day he was born, February 18th, 1977, NASA sent their new space shuttle into space. And we can all benefit from knowing something more about the space that surrounds us. So the title of our speaker's speech is Sagan, More Than Just an Astronomer. Please help me welcome Dave Owens.
Well, first things first, everybody please a nice round of applause for Samantha's wonderful introduction. Secondly, by a show of hands, is there anybody here that's familiar with the pale blue dot? It's relatively hard to see on there, even with the new bright, vivid colors. The arrow there is pointing to the planet Earth as seen from 4 billion miles away. Today you'll be introduced to the gentleman that came up with that phrase, the pale blue dot, but we'll get to that shortly. First, I have to tell you, I looked up the definition of tribute in my handy-dandy encyclopedic unabridged dictionary. It states the definition of tribute as follows: a gift, statement, testimonial, etc. that shows gratitude, respect, or honor. In today's speech, I'm going to show my gratitude by sharing some of the accomplishments of the man I chose for today's speech. I'll also show respect to him by explaining how he influenced my personal life. Finally, I'll honor him by sharing some of his most famous quotes. He lived his life inspiring others, and a lot of them he never even met. His impact on the human race was tremendous. I am pleased to introduce you to Carl Sagan, one of my personal heroes. Now, I'm not going to bore you guys with an autobiography. I am, however, going to highlight a few moments of this astronomer's illustrious life. For instance, not many people know it, but he actually briefed all the Apollo astronauts before they ventured off to their moon landings. But coming back to that pale blue dot I mentioned earlier, Carl Sagan spent his career as an astronomer. But he found his way to influence the world, the entire world, with his ideas. For instance, he had a hand on placing the golden record on the Voyager satellite. This was a very unique idea. It may be the way humans end up communicating with an alien race possibly in the future. What they did was they recorded sounds and a message, or earth sounds, excuse me, and a message in over 200 different languages. They thought also of recording mathematics in hopes that an intelligent being could decipher it. Well, what does this have to do with the pale blue dot? I'll tell you. Carl Sagan himself had the idea to have the Voyager satellite turn its camera toward Earth just as the spacecraft was passing Saturn. And when they did so, this is the view that they had from 4 billion miles away. It forever changed the view of Earth. No one had ever seen the Earth as such, as a lonely pixel in a beam of light. He was definitely a true trendsetter. Carl Sagan's influence can be seen everywhere in today's society. Let me share with you the influence he had on me. I'd always been interested in science classes growing up as a child, especially when they would get past the boring stuff and start talking about the planet, galaxy, and universe. Now, this is always my favorite part of science. It wasn't until I had read Carl Sagan's book Cosmos, though sitting in a jail cell, that I decided I too was going to be an astronomer. I stand here today as an amateur astronomer who works on the campus telescope here on Paradise Valley Community College. And it's all because I read this man's book. There's no telling where I'd be or what I'd be doing if it wasn't for reading that book. I recommend this book for all of you, for young and old. The man truly was a man among men. And Carl Sagan has said many things. To me, his words are inspiring. Take, for instance, when he said, imagination will often carry us to worlds that never were, but without it, we go nowhere. Consider also when he commented that you're worth about $3 in chemicals. The man's practical, if nothing else. But I assure you, Carl Sagan had a vision for all of us. He said once our he said one time, that we make our world significant by the courage of our questions and the depth of our answers. He spent most of his life looking for other life forms in the cosmos via the SETI program. What this does is it searches for extraterrestrials in the universe. You're probably familiar with it if you've seen the movie Contact, which is a book he actually wrote. Moving right along. When he had been asked about his endeavors in this program, he replied, "We can't help it. Life looks for life. That's what we do." He spent so much of his time opening up the universe to us, and along the way he realized the threat from nuclear weapons. Carl Sagan was one of the pioneers of research in nuclear winter. He railed against nuclear war and the fallout. Once he made a statement that the nuclear arms race is like two sworn enemies standing waist deep in gasoline, one with 3 matches and the other with 3. And that, my friends, was a look at a day or two in the life of Carl Sagan. Now, today we've heard a lot. We heard about some of Carl Sagan's endeavors, we even got to learn about how he affected my personal life. Finally, I believe we had a chance to better understand him as we focused on the words he spoke to us. I'm sure every person in this room can now see Carl Sagan's importance, because although he is deceased, his legacy lives on through people like me and hopefully now one of you. So today I just want to thank you guys for your time. Good luck to the rest of you. Congratulations to those of you that are already finished. Once again, Samantha, thanks for that wonderful introduction. I'd like to close with a quote from Carl Sagan. It's one of my favorites. "I don't know where I'm going, but I'm on my way." Thank you.